24 years after a dad put his girl up for adoption, he learned she'd been close to his side for months. Hi there and welcome to Why and How. I'm Scott Leffler and I'll be your guide today. If it's your first visit, make sure to like our video and hit that subscribe button and let us know what you think in the comment section below. Will Russell spent his life replaying over and over in his mind the decision to give up his daughter, Amy Roberson, for adoption. And now that she was fully grown, he wanted to meet her. Little did he know, however, that she felt the same way about her biological father. Still, neither of them could have known just how close that meeting was. In fact, after years of searching for each other, they found out that they'd been under the same roof for weeks and weeks, with absolutely no idea that they were father and daughter. So, how'd the story begin? Well, when Russell's daughter came into the world, he was in no state to be a parent. Indeed, he said in an interview with the Phoenix Rescue Mission that his 20s were a train wreck. He was, after all, dependent on alcohol until 2004. At that time, Russell found his faith, which helped him kick his addiction. Later, he became a pastor and served at the Phoenix Rescue Mission, teaching discipleship and helping those fighting to overcome addiction. Furthermore, he used his own challenges to inspire others to change. Throughout all of his life's peaks and valleys, though, Russell never stopped thinking about the daughter he gave up for adoption. Little did he know, Roberson was wondering about him too, and the 24-year-old's research would finally lead her to her biological father. You see, Roberson was finally able to identify a few of her relatives on her father's side. She then found out that she had 9 brothers and sisters, one of whom she was able to get in touch with. From there, she phoned her biological father and addressed him as Andrew, his middle name. "No one has called me that for a very long time," he said, but his old moniker was perhaps the least surprising thing he heard on that phone call. Roberson told Fox 10. "I called just to tell him that I was his daughter. I was hoping to meet him and any siblings that I had," she added. For Russell, the fact that his daughter reached out was almost overwhelming. So much so, in fact, that he didn't respond immediately to the request made by the woman on the other end of the line. She said, "Please say something. My heart's beating through my chest," Russell recalled. Then he was finally able to speak. "The only thing I could tell her was, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right." Yet, despite Russell's speechlessness, the news was more than all right. It was something that he'd been secretly wishing for. "Unbeknownst to anyone else, for the past 6 months, it's been a constant prayer that God would lead me into her life," he said. And that was surely a comfort to Roberson, who had to muster up all her strength to even pick up the phone. "It took a lot for me to make that phone call," she admitted. "I was really nervous, but it was definitely something that I felt like I needed to do." With their first phone call finished, Roberson and Russell decided to meet face-to-face the next day. Then over breakfast, their conversation would lead them to realize something incredible. Unknowingly, they'd been crossing paths for months. During their chat, Russell took time to explain to his daughter why he had given her up for adoption. He detailed his history with addiction and how he funneled that experience into a career helping others. Then he had to go. He was due to work that day at the Phoenix Rescue Mission. His destination left his daughter shocked. She said, "Oh, that's where I volunteer," Russell recalled. Yes, although he had taken on a larger role as pastor, Russell also began working as a volunteer in the mission's kitchen, and his daughter did the same. "That's when there was this moment of silence," Russell said of the realization, which left him confused at first. "I kept thinking to myself, maybe she's talking about another mission." And she said, "No, the Phoenix Rescue Mission." Not only had they been working in the same building, but they'd also started volunteering at the mission around the same time. Roberson took up her post in the kitchen in March of 2012. Her father started his work in the ministry a month later. Somehow, though, their paths had never crossed. And the coincidences didn't end there. Both Russell and Roberson felt drawn to their roles at the mission. "When I first began volunteering, I instantly felt like I needed to be there," Roberson said. Her father agreed, saying, "I felt the same way. The mission became my home away from home." To the pair, who spent Father's Day together after their July 2012 reunion, none of this happened by mistake. Roberson hoped others would hold on to their faith after hearing her story too. "It's never a hopeless situation if it's meant to be," she said. And while it's impossible to guarantee a story as incredible as theirs, both Russell and Roberson hoped their newsworthy reunion would inspire others. They hoped more people would volunteer to help those in need, including children, the homeless, and the elderly, who spend much of their time alone. No matter how much or how little a person can pledge, Roberson believes it's worth it. No task is too small, she said. Aside from the fact that it led her to her father, she also said her work at the mission gave her a new perspective. I'm inspired every time I volunteer, she said.